Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the tavern. This is Bardic Blunders. I'm Spencer,
And I'm Eli.
and we're here to talk about quite a few things today. But the
Anything
main
and everything,
appetizer,
all of the time.
the main appetizer, yeah, appetizer is the main dish, don't you know? Um, the entree is what I meant to say is the Warhammer news, and that is all Eli. He's the Warhammer, the local Warhammer buff. So if you want to kick it off with Warhammer, we can. If you want to start with something else, that's all you.
Okay, so you know very little about Warhammer.
I know like bottom of the barrel about Warhammer.
You know about the Horus Heresy, right?
I have heard the name and you've explained to me what it is, but uh,
Okay, quick rundown, real quick. You have this guy named Big E, or
the
the
rapper.
Emperor of Mankind. Yes, the rapper.
Okay,
The
cool.
Emperor of Mankind. He's just called Big E by a lot of people.
Okay,
So Big E is uniting humanity that has been scattered to space.
mm-hmm.
Can't do it by himself, so he makes 20 sons.
Okay,
Two of them go missing. Don't just forget they ever existed. So he has 18 sons. One of them dies, gets brought back to life with chaos magic, which is hell magic.
okay, and that's Tupac.
It's Horus, but close enough. They share a very similar story.
Oh, okay. All right. When did
He gets
Tupac get
upset.
brought back to life with dark magic or blood magic, whatever you said?
So he gets 8 of his brothers together, and they're like, "We're gonna take over what Dad did." Best way to describe it is the 18 brothers are like demigods. Emperor's like basically a god, but won't admit to it
Okay,
because he's like a turbo atheist.
interesting. He's a redditor.
Oh, absolutely. There's oh, there's actually a novella that I think you would really enjoy. A very interesting look at things. Uh, it's the emperor basically tearing down the final church, not Christianity, because like everything went nutty and the world was destroyed multiple times, yada yada.
Well, and this is the year 40,000, so.
It's that's probably closer to like 28,000
Okay.
because Warhammer has a problem with scale, if
Interesting.
that makes sense.
All right.
When it's also grimdark, so like horror becomes statistical, if that makes sense.
Well, and I mean, like everything sucks in Warhammer. I've at least gathered that much. Nothing is happy. Everything sucks.
So a billion people die to save the rest of humanity. That's a noble sacrifice.
Okay.
Because we're talking like trillions of human souls. Anyway, they have this giant war. The bad guys lose. Horus dies. Biggie gets stabbed and put on this giant throne.
Okay.
So that's where we were as of. One second, pulling it up. When did 7th edition? So things went kind of bad for humanity.
Okay.
in that time, all the demigod kids, the Primarchs, all went off and did their own thing or disappeared or died. No one really knows. So people are just left to do people things. And what do people like to do?
Murder.
Yes, and
Oh.
worship things. And when you can't really decide what to worship, you start worshiping this super powerful beacon in the warp, who turns out to be Biggie.
Okay.
So everything's gone downhill. 10,000 years of just deep decline.
And so what happened recently that you were like so mind blown about?
So, as of May 2014, one of the Primarchs has returned.
Okay.
Rabute Gilliman.
And what does that mean?
So imagine if it's World War III right now.
All right.
Everyone's attacking United. Well, yeah, everyone hates U.S. Everyone's bombing and attacking the United States. Complete power vacuum. No president. No nobody. The man that we put in charge is the head of the Treasury Department.
All right.
Wait, even better. Head of the IRS. Rabute Gilliman is the tax man.
Okay. So is that a
Really good.
bad thing?
Well, when you're in constant war, do you want the guy filing, making sure all your taxes are done right, going out and swinging a sword around?
No.
Yes. Well, he still does a good job, but he's kind of outmatched because other brothers start returning, but these are the bad ones.
All right.
So it's a very losing battle. 10th edition has come out. That's very recently. At the end of 9th edition, Lionel Johnson has returned. He's one of the good ones. And Games Workshop has said we are planning on returning all the Primarchs that are not dead back. We want to do it. Epic conflict, yada yada.
Okay.
Pretty cool, you know. So it's like, okay, we're getting about a Primarch a year, kinda. Is where it sits. I think we're currently at, oh wait, so it's 2023. We have had 5 Primarchs return. So a Primarch every 2 years. Well, they put out a book. It's called The Space Marine Codex Astartes, Volume 1. Where it just talks about, like, the Space Marines.
Okay.
Really cool paper. It's a really cool book. It's a very nerd thing. Very limited supply. But in the book, there are 2 factions of Space Marines. One of them are the Space Wolves. So think Viking Space Marines.
Okay.
You're completely lost, but that's okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know those okays.
I mean, I'm kind of following you.
Well, one of their big characters is like, huh, you know, this really looks like Ragnarok is happening. And that's when our dad said he would come back. The guy in charge of the Space Wolves who disappeared. They don't call it Ragnarok, though. They call it the Wolfen time.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's interesting. And Then another section on the White Scars, which are like Mongolian guys who ride around on bikes and just go fast. They've had a problem here recently with a bunch of Dark Eldar or Drow, space Drow, running away from something in their version of the war.
From something?
Yes, they just something. The more Dark Eldar are running out of the warp and showing up at their doorstep. Like, I would rather be here. I would rather die here than what's in there.
Oh.
And their dad, Jagatai Khan, uh, sped off into the webway about 10,000 years ago. So it's kind of pointing that those might be the two big boys returning. Because we already know the next Primarch that's returning because they've already spoiled it. Great job, GW.
Okay. And what are the Primarchs again? They're the sons of the Emperor?
The Emperor.
Okay.
Yes. They're like demigods. The best
Okay.
way to put it. Like Hercules and yada yada.
All right. And so where were they?
Well, okay.
Is that a little bit too much? Is that a long?
I can run down the list. I just gotta pull up a list.
Oh, okay.
Because I know what all of them were doing. So you have Horus. He's dead.
Okay.
But his first captain is now like the big bad of the Chaos Space Marines. But who cares? We have Lehman Russ, who's the guy in charge of the Space Wolves. He kind of went on a crusade into hell and hasn't come back.
Uh-huh.
You have Ferrus Manus. He died. Very dead. He runs the Iron Hands.
Cool.
Um,
Doesn't sound like
he
he does
got a
anymore.
little. Well, yeah, no. He got a little ahead of himself and lost his head.
Oh, okay.
You have Fulgrim of the Emperor's Children. He's a big snake boy now.
What?
Yeah, he's a big snake boy. He turned into a giant snake demon. He's a bad guy.
Oh.
Then you
Alright.
have Vulcan. Vulcan, nobody knows where Vulcan is.
Okay.
He just kind of
left.
he just kind of after a big war after the Horus Heresy was like, listen, kiddos, I'm gonna go get some milk. If you can put together this really this like 10,000 piece puzzle I left you inside that's outside of the escape room, I'll come back.
Oh, okay.
Then you got Rogel Dorn, who runs the Imperial Fist. He lost a hand and kind of disappeared. No one knows what's up with him because for a long time he was dead, but they kind of retconned that. But it's also a game system that's about 40 years old, so I'll give him some credit. You do need to update some things.
Okay.
No one really knows where he is or what he's doing, but they do know he's missing a hand. You got Rabute Gilliman, who Fulgrim killed, and then a guy brought back to life.
Okay. He's the tax man?
He's the tax man.
Okay.
You got the biggest nerd of them all, Magnus the Red.
I've heard that name
Um,
before.
yes, he's really cool. He's probably the most powerful of the Primarchs. Uh, I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying that, but he is definitely probably the most powerful of the Primarchs
Okay.
because he's the only like spellcaster one of them,
Hmm.
but he's really good at it.
I thought magic was like blasphemous or it's heresy.
Oh, 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 it very much is. He's a bad guy.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Well, he had his soul split into a bunch of fragments, and now there's like different versions of him popping up and doing terrible things.
Okay.
Yeah, he like very interesting character, very sad character actually. They do a really good job at making sad characters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm starting to understand why every single one of your D&D characters is a sad character.
Yeah, I grew up on this stuff. Then you got Sanguinius. He's very dead.
Okay.
Then you got Lionel Johnson, who took a 10,000-year nap and just woke up.
All right.
It, no joke, took a 10,000-year nap and just woke up.
He was just like, I'm sleepy. I
It would
need
be more
I need
compared to like
nappy
a
time.
coma.
Oh, he was being quarantined?
A coma. He got the crap beat out of him
Oh,
twice in a row.
I thought you said another word.
The COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought you said
he got beat
corona.
up.
Like the beer.
He got beat up a bit. He took a really long nap to recover. He's now awake and old.
I mean, yeah, that kind of tracks. when you sleep for 10,000 years, I think you're going to wake up old.
Oh, also his book is hysterical because he like wakes up not knowing who he is. And we've all taken that nap where you wake up and you're like, I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. What is going on? What time is it? Um, then you got Perturabu, who is a giant demon mech guy right now.
Okay.
No one really knows what he's doing except he's stealing Tyranid ships.
Isn't that dangerous?
Oh, very much so. Like, think of the most dangerous thing and multiply it by 10. And that's what he's doing for fun. They're also like giant insect ships, so they like fly through space super slow. And he's just taking them over, putting a virus in them, and just taking them and running away.
All right.
Yeah, he's a funny one, and everyone hates him, and it's great. Then you have Mortarion, who's a big stinky boy. He's good friends with Nurgle.
Okay, it's a bad guy.
Yes. Well, he's a bad guy, but there's a direction for his story to go. But who really cares about that? Because he got his ass beat by the tax man. Then you have Lorgar, who's like the most, well, to be fair, he's locked himself in his tower, hiding. And we'll get to who he's hiding from here in a second. Next up, you got Jagatai Khan, who's going and beating the crap out of the Dark Eldar. Can you still hear me, or am I out?
Oh no, I still hear you. I mean, I don't have a ton to say about Warhammer, so I'm letting the expert talk.
Fair enough. I'm just giving you like a basic rundown of each of them. Jagatai Khan's missing. Lorgar's trapped in his tower, like hiding. Conrad Kurz, probably one of my favorite Primarchs, is very dead. He got domed in the back of the head
Okay.
by an assassin. Then you have Engron. If he's Korn's baby boy. Very much a bad guy.
So, like, half the Primarchs are evil?
Yeah.
I thought they were supposed to help humanity.
Oh, that's what they were designed to do. But Big E turns out to be probably like the worst father ever. Like there's bad fathers that like abuse their kids. Big E makes them look like saints.
Oh, okay. So, like, how does he compare to Omni-Man? Or, no. Worse father, Ozai.
Oh, he makes Ozai look good.
Interesting.
Keep in mind, Big E, for the most part, when he would show up to pick up his kids, because they all got kind of scattered, for the most part, he had to beat them into submission.
All right.
Not a lot of them were like, "Oh my God, you're my dad." A lot of them were like, "Who are you?" Because he would also like show up as a beggar, and they'd be like, "Who are you? Go away. We don't like you."
And then he'd be like, "It's me," and then
It's me,
beat him.
Dio. Kind of. There's a lot of funny stories that go with that. Then you got Corvus Corax, who is sitting outside of Lorgar's tower screaming, "Let me in."
So that's why he's hiding.
Yeah, Corvus Corax is scary. And then you have Alfarius Omegon. Something interesting about Alfarius and Omegon is they're twins.
Okay.
And one of them is dead.
All
But
right.
nobody knows which one it was.
Interesting.
So the next Primarch coming back is going to be Fulgrim, big snaky boy.
Okay.
Which probably means, because Games Workshop doesn't know how to like bring old lore to new lore very well, it means he's going to show up, and then good old Lehman Russ is going to show up, and it's going to be a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fulgrim and Lehman Russ didn't really like do anything together during the Great Crusade, as it's called, which is what they were doing before the Horus Heresy. They were like two different kinds of people. Lehman Russ wants to fight, Fulgrim wants to make art and make things perfect. So like they did, like, why would they ever talk to each other?
Right.
So they're gonna fight, instead of it being Fulgrim versus Jagatai Khan, because that would be a good one, because Jagatai Khan probably has the best burn ever on Fulgrim.
What's that?
Fulgrim's like, say, Fulgrim's like, "Hey, you do weird modifications to your jet bikes," and Jagatai Khan goes, "I hear you do weird things to your soldiers," which are basically his sons. So kind of
Mm.
messed up. It like, and it shuts Fulgrim up, who normally has a comeback to everything. He even had a comeback when Perturabo was beating his face in with a toy.
A
So
toy.
it'll be, yeah, like a little like mechanical dog thing.
I was thinking a squeaky hammer. It's like squeak, 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 because he's beating him over the head.
Uh, kind of, but you also have to remember like Fulgrim's like they're built because they're like 16 feet tall, you know?
Okay.
They're like they're like big guys, but like Fulgrim's kind of built more like a very lean athlete, you know? Perturabo is built like a rugby player. He doesn't play around with these sissy games of, oh, let's intrigue. He's like, no, we're gonna go get the thing done. But I'm just interested to see the Lion meet, well, Lion and Rabute Gilliman get together and talk. Because
Okay.
the last time they saw each other, Rabute Gilliman punched the Lion in the face and then broke his sword.
No one can just have a conversation in 40K, can they? Like it
Well,
always.
normal people can, but it's like take sibling rivalries and crank them up to 11. That's the thing I've been trying to explain to you for years. Warhammer 40K is just take everything good and bad about humanity and just dial it to 11.
Okay.
Like the indomitable human spirit. You can put 10 guardsmen, which are basically regular dudes, to hold a point, and they will hold it until their dying breath. But at the same time, you have this group called the High Lords of Terra who do nothing but are giant money grabbers and extort the weak and the poor, and it's just a mess. Like there's a reason there is that said that there is no good guys in 40K.
Okay. Everyone and everything sucks.
Oh yeah, very much so. Like from the Lion book that I have, probably the best line in it is the lion is talking to a ghost version of Conrad Kurz because they didn't like each other at all. Mainly because Conrad Kurz stabbed the lion and played Among Us on his ship for like 2 years.
Did not just name drop Among Us.
No, he literally hid in the vents and would just poke
Oh,
out, kill somebody, and jump back into the vents.
oh my gosh.
So Conrad Kurz, the best way to describe it is Conrad Kurz was the guy who was extremely skilled in one thing. Because they all have like their areas of expertise. Conrad Kurz was the terror tactics guy.
All right.
Like, you wanted the taxman to show up. Because the taxman's gonna go, okay, well, these are the problems. Join us, I'll help you make things better. Conrad Kurz did more things like, yeah, we sent a ship up there. Hey, our ship's returning. Man, this is awesome, guys. We won. We beat the Space Marines. As the hangar bays open and the entirety of the crew on the ship who have been cut into little pieces shower across the capital city.
Oh.
Yeah, he was known to flay people alive to like, hey, Join us, or this is going to happen to everyone.
You know? Yeah.
Whereas the lion, so it's a thing said in that book is it's like you didn't send the lion to make an example. You sent Lehman Ross and the Space Wolves to be like, here's the guy who you told me to bring back, put on the giant spike. His head's on a spike, head spike wall. These are the bad guys. We're making an example. We send these guys to make the example. You sent the lion when you wanted nothing left over. You wanted no record of their existence.
Leave no prisoners. Leave no
Yeah, you would.
survivors.
So the conversation's going back and forth where the ghost of Conrad Kurz is kind of like taking shots at the lion, like, they call you a hero, yet you're worse than me because you destroyed all these planets. I just killed like 30 guys. You killed billions. How are you right and I'm wrong? And like, he makes points. Like, you can see it, like, okay, that kind of makes sense in a weird, sick, twisted way. And the lion's like, no, you're evil because you took joy in what you did. You were happy to do it. I never had a shred of happiness when I was doing what I was doing. And Conrad Kurz is like, are you sure about that? And then Lionel Johnson beats up a ghost.
Warhammer is wild.
It's why you can't say anything compares to it, man. It's like, it's great.
Well,
I love it.
it's things like that. Like, if I had gotten into it a long time ago, it's the same thing. So I'll get a lot of criticism for this. I refuse to watch One Piece because it's too long. So, and I always have people, it's not that long. It's over 1,000 episodes. Oh, you can skip that. I like, okay, you know what? I watched Naruto. It's 700 episodes. Naruto's long. But about 300 of those episodes are filler. So you can just skip them. Even if 300 episodes of One Piece are filler, which I know it's not, it's still over 1,000 episodes long and still going. It's just too much.
Yeah,
And
so I pulled up the list for how many books are in the Horus Heresy.
mm-hmm.
This is just on Audible. There are 246.
Yeah, no, screw that. Are you kidding me? 246?
Yeah, that's just for something that they're like, yeah, this happened 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, I
And the
can't.
final book in that series is slated to come out the end of this year, beginning of next year.
Dude, I mean, when I was a kid, I read all the time. Like I almost always had my face in a book. If I wasn't playing a video game or playing outside, I had my face in a book. And I mean, truth be told, those three were split about evenly time wise. So I read a lot of books when I was a kid. I don't think I've read 246 books across my lifetime, let alone in one series. That
Well,
is
there's also a
wild.
lot of things. There's also a whole lot of like, they have like, The Last Church is the book I was talking about, but it's only like, let's pull it up. It is an hour and 28 minutes to listen to.
Okay. And for
So it's not like
comparison, just for comparison's sake, how long is Harry Potter?
Potter. I'm pulling it up now.
Because
The
Harry Potter's
first book is 8 hours and 8 minutes.
okay. All right, because I mean, the first Harry Potter's a decently beefy book. It's not massive, but it's a good size. Uh,
The first four books of the Horus Heresy is like 12 hours, 11 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. So you're looking at like 2 days of just straight listening
for 4 books
for four books.
in a series with 250 something.
Yeah, but there's also like they have like um books that are a bunch of different like small books all jammed together.
Okay.
And short stories and stuff like that. So it's not as long as it seems.
Still long.
Oh, here. Total hours of Horus Heresy book. Okay, so for the mainline book is 25 days, 14 hours, and 28 minutes.
Good grief.
So, yeah, it's a lot of reading, but there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of skip over because there's not like let me see. Roman numeral for XLV123, like 43, I think it is.
XLV. I think L is 50, isn't it?
Is it?
So it's XLVII.
Yeah.
Two eyes or three?
Three eyes.
Three.
So it's 48 books.
Okay, that's 48.
There's 48 mainline books in
Oh,
that
that's
series with
right.
a bunch of smaller ones.
L by itself is 50, but the X before it
Before it is 40.
40. Yeah. Roman
So,
numerals are so weird.
yeah. It's a lot of reading, but like I'm gonna be honest, you could go listen to a couple of podcasts that go over everything in half the time.
Yeah. See, in my like the way I look at it, it's just a lot of information to try and retain. And when I've already got
And
my
it
other
changes every 5 years.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. So it just seems like a little bit much. Like I don't
yes,
mind playing like Kill Team or some of those, but doing like looking at all the lore,
oh dude, it's ridiculous.
it's a bit
I
of a
love it.
bit extensive.
Oh, I love it though. So we had talked about this topic before getting on the air of it it kind of went back and forth on what it would be, but if you could set up like your ideal like adventuring gear out of all like known universes, what would you pick?
So I guess the main question is what what is the purpose? Is it just for day-to-day life? Is it is it like I have a specific, I've got to go slay a dragon or something like that? What's the circumstances of this? We got to lay down.
So, like, say you're going on some big quest to go do something. I don't know, like, I save the world quest. There we
Okay.
go.
Well, I mean, there's a lot you could go with. I mean, it's such a wide scope because you're saying, well, you could pick just about anything from Marvel and DC and be pretty well off. But
Yeah, Green Lantern ring, you're pretty set.
yeah, you pick an Iron Man suit like Ultimate Iron Man, you sweep. Uh, but if I had to pick something that I would find more practical and more, I don't know, interesting to me, I love the breathing styles from Demon Slayer because they like essentially give you superpowers.
Okay.
Like moving at the speed of lightning, and I mean, they do all kinds of crazy things with them. You know, it's the typical anime swordsman kind of BS.
Yeah,
Just
anime, the one thing Eli doesn't watch.
yeah, exactly. That's what we haven't delved too much into anime just because that's where anime is to me what Warhammer is to you. Like you have no idea. You don't have a lot of knowledge about anime. I don't have a lot of knowledge about Warhammer.
But
So
together, we make
together,
uh
a pair of idiots.
together we make one Tumblr page.
Tumblr. Oh, Tumblr still exists. Uh, that's been a while. I forgot about Tumblr. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a few things. I mean, the jutsus from Naruto are cool. Um, I mean, you're almost never gonna get me turning down a lightsaber because lightsabers are dope. Uh, the hand and eye of Vecna from D&D would be interesting.
Oh, yeah, sure. You want to go evil really fast?
Yeah. Right.
Then again, I gotta admit, you with the hand to eye Vecna really reminds me of when Samwise held the ring in Lord of the Rings. And it's like, because in the books he was tempted,
He was,
but it is the funniest tempt ever because it's like, hey, Sam, you could be the Lord of Second Breakfast.
yeah, and he was like, "No, I'm good."
That's cool, but no thanks.
He's like the only person canonically in the book to, or in the whole book movies, to just straight up resist the influence of the ring. Like not even Frodo where he's like holds it off sometimes. Sam was just like, "Nah, I ain't gonna let a piece of metal tell me what to do." I love Sam. Oh, Sam's so good. But okay, if turning it on you, what equipment would you take if you had a quest you had to complete?
Right off the bat, main hand. Magnum from Halo CE.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Ugh. Um, just because the gun's broken, but um, offhand, so my other hand, I don't know, probably like Captain America's shield.
Oh, did you see the thing? I'm so this is a little bit of a tangent, but did you see the thing about the one of the developers from Halo CE talking about what it took for them to get the game released?
Oh yeah, and like how they made a game that they made a level that probably shouldn't have been shipped. They rushed a bunch of things. They in and out stole people from other projects.
They almost did not add the tank into the game. That one guy was like, "We got to cut the tank. We don't have time for it." And another guy was like, "F you, we ain't cutting the tank. I'll make it myself."
Oh yeah, man.
I thought that was really interesting. All the different crap that went on behind the
So
scenes.
all of the alien speech from
Hmm.
like the Covenant is just Marine voice lines played backwards.
I thought one of the aliens from Halo was a pug.
That's the Flood.
That's the Flood. Okay.
So like the elites when they go warp warp warp.
Work, work, work.
Yeah, that's Sergeant Johnson saying something backwards.
Tro?
What?
Tro. Wart? WORT? TROW? That doesn't. It's not a word.
I think it was him yelling "move, move, move," but like sped up and amplified in some way.
Oh, just like garbled.
Yeah, that's basically how they made them, and it's just all Marine voice lines backwards and like pitched differently.
Alright, fair enough. I mean, it made honestly comical for the elites, especially. Um, I mean, I know they actually had speech in the later games, like they would
Yes.
talk to you, but the the freaking the me in the kitchen at 2 in the morning unvirgining the olive oil and it's all the elite sound. Oh, that video still kills me. Oh boy. Well, I did have one last topic I wanted to talk about, and that's it came from me watching some death battle related content uh, this week, and it's people's insistence on making fictional characters fight each other, and the way people do it. So you can use Death Battle as an example. They have a lot of problems. I don't watch them anymore because I kind of got sick of them. But you will always run into the issue where do you draw the line? And so for example, like I mean, we whenever I mentioned it to you earlier, it was like Superman versus Goku. People who love Superman are going to say Superman. People who love Goku are going to say Goku. And you're going to get it like Superman fans are going to say, "Oh, well, Goku can overcome any limit, but Superman is limitless." And Goku fans are going to say, "Oh, well, Goku could just teleport Superman into a dimension of kryptonite." And then Superman fans will say, "Oh, kryptonite doesn't count. We aren't counting kryptonite." But so it's always people will draw different lines, and so it makes it impossible to argue over which character would win over another.
So, very interestingly, a group, two guys that I watch, is Slander and Coda. on YouTube. They go over a bunch of Warhammer content. They very recently did a um, episode where they're ranking the different Primarchs against each other, and they kind of did it differently. It basically on how good you are as a leader, because they're all generals, you know, and then how good you are as a solo combatant.
Okay.
So people in those perspectives, it would be like, okay, yeah, Captain Keyes isn't that great at, fighting, but if you put him at the head of a ship, he's going to do a pretty good job.
Right.
So it's an interesting way to break it down because, like, if you're just looking at like strength, speed, stamina, endurance.
Well, and yeah, that's what I mean. There are some where people will, like, it's hard to argue that one character could beat another, but it's always like you'll get people who just to use a death battle as an example, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern. That one has been so heated in the community, the death battle community, and outward, anyone who's heard about it. Green Lantern wins on their calculations. Green Lantern wins. But you always get people saying, oh, well, the way it does in the animation, he cuts off Ben's arm so he can't use the Omnitrix, but the Omnitrix wouldn't let that happen because it has fail safes. And then Alien X is essentially omnipotent, so Green Lantern couldn't do it. But then a Green Lantern fan comes in, oh, well, actually, Green Lantern's ring can do anything and everything, so... And it always ends up like... You want to know what it is? It's the two toddlers on the playground, like, I shoot you with my gun. It's like, oh, I have a force field that blocks bullets. Oh, well, I have force field penetrating bullets. Yeah, well, I have a second force field that stops all bullets and nothing can make it through. All right, well, I have a laser gun that can make it through force fields. Oh, I have a shield that deflects lasers. Like, it's back and forth constantly.
So you mean Warhammer?
Yeah, kinda. It's my dad had a great, he was like, it's like the conversation kids in elementary school get into where it's like, my dad could beat up your dad.
Yeah, honestly, it's dumb because 90% of the time people, they won't fight each other. Like, heroes won't fight other heroes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know what? The way Death Battle does it, where they're like, this is a fight to the death no matter what. We're disregarding morals. We're disregarding... all right, cool. You're purely laying it out as a who could win. And I get that. I understand.
Do you remember the Ultimate Warrior show?
Yes, I do.
Like, real big when we were kids.
I loved that show as a kid.
It is if we could do something like that, where we brought in experts and sat down and talked to them, and then kind of like pieced it together, well, we would need a third person to kind of break ties, you know?
Yeah.
But,
well, and the hard thing about it is, like you said with the guys doing the Warhammer, in the same universe, that's absolutely... that works, that you can reason that. Once you start crossing universes, and like the Star Wars universe is different from the Naruto universe, which is different from the Warhammer universe, which is different from blah blah blah. They all have their own power scaling, they all have their own unique rules and abilities, so it's such a hassle to try and cross universes like that. And
yeah.
I think the biggest issue is some people take it too seriously. Their guy has to win or else it's not right. And I think it's fine as a casual conversation. I just don't like the amount of people that will get into insult slinging, death threat throwing arguments on the internet over it. I'm like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, it's just dumb. I honestly think this is my only knock on anything to do with DC. One
Okay.
thing. And the reason I believe that no hero from DC should ever win one of those.
What is that?
A man, a just regular dude in a bat costume, figured out how to beat every single hero in DC. That's all I'm saying. A dude in a bat costume, basically a Halloween costume, was like, how you beat Green Lantern is make him believe he's blind.
I mean, all things considered, Batman is very intelligent.
Yes.
And he's a great strategist, so you can't sell him too short. But I understand your point.
But he's still just a dude. He's not an alien from outer space. He's not. That's the thing. It's like just a dude with resources on Earth. It was like, this is how you beat Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can point to Iron Man the same way. Iron Man has an armor for most other superheroes.
Yeah. But
Thor Buster, Hulk Buster, he's got plenty of them that are meant to counter other heroes.
Yeah, it's basically the same aspect of like he's just a super smart rich dude who has too much time on his hands.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy those conversations, and if we had those conversations on a podcast on here, I don't mind having those conversations, but all I could say is the comment section under Death Battle videos is some of the most hateful and vitriolic stuff you can find on YouTube. So
I love it. I love the hate. So boy. I want to surprise you with a topic.
Oh, from the top rope.
One of my employees / coworkers just went to midget wrestling this weekend. He had a blast.
Okay.
But besides that, you just brought that up because there were. Oh, sorry, not. It's called midget wrestling, but it's dwarfism wrestling. So we don't get canceled.
I don't care. It's literally called that. Like, what do you want us to do?
Yes. You have people with dwarfism going off the top rope, dropping elbows. It was great. Anyway, I don't know if this could be a regular one or just every so often when we find one. But quotes from video games, movies, books,
pop culture.
I kind of want to, yeah, pop culture. Kind of want to stay away from real life, you know.
Yeah.
Because you could go get that information. We might just here you might be able to find something that somebody hasn't heard of, you know, that strike oddly close to home. Because I got one for you.
I'd have to think, because there's ones that strike close to home are interesting because I've got some that I love.
Or some that make an impact on you in some way.
Oh, I feel like I should know more. Well,
I can give you a second to think, because I have one. It's from a book I have been trying to get you to read for years.
Oh?
Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames.
I don't remember that book.
I'm like, I bring it up to you all the time. But the main character, struggles the entire book with a concept of he left the monster that he was behind so many years ago. And one part of the book, he does something. Not to spoil the book. It's a great book. Everyone who's listening should go and read it. He's like, the monster inside of me didn't die 20 years ago. It just went to sleep, waiting for the perfect time to rear its ugly head. And that's what I am, truly. The monster inside of a man.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Especially because it's like off of a barbarian character, you know?
Right.
It's also a book that that is book and book series that I'm far too invested in.
So, if I had to pick, realistically, you could pick and choose any quote.
All the Handsome Jack quotes.
See, Handsome Jack, I thought about. No, Joshua Graham from Fallout New Vegas. You could pretty much pick any quote that he says, but my two favorites are. Oh, I have to find. I just had it for a second. I was baptized twice. Once in water and once in flame. I survived because the fire inside me burned brighter than the fire around me.
I love that quote.
That quote, I love that so much. And then, where's the other one? In a world filled with misery and uncertainty, it is a great comfort to know that in the end, there is light in the darkness. Those are probably my two favorite video game quotes, but realistically, you could pick just about anything he says.
So, I don't know if we could make this like a regular thing, but we could definitely bring it up from time to time because there's a lot of very good quotes.
There's so many good video game quotes, and not all of them have to be poignant.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, you've got like Handsome Jack saying, I named the unicorn Butt Stallion, and stupid things like that.
It's just stuff like that it's just a quote that makes an impact on you, you know?
Right. I must say, too, another Joshua Graham quote, little less poignant than the other ones. He says, I pray for the safety of all good people who come to Zion, even Gentiles, but we can't expect God to do all the work. That one's a funny quote. Again, not as notable or poignant as the other ones, but I find it funny.
Or like, there's a quote from Jarvik in Mass Effect 3.
We gotta be careful not to blow all our quotes right at the beginning, though. If we're gonna make this a consistent thing, you can throw out the Jarvik quote, and then we'll.
Yeah. This is a great one because it was just one of those like, man, stand amongst the ashes of a trillion dead souls and ask the ghosts if honor matters.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Silence is the answer, and that's such a great one.
That is a really, really good quote.
I
Yeah.
also just got your message for if I'm ready for the podcast.
Oh.
I need a new phone.
Well, hey, are you ready?
Sure. Yeah, let's go another hour.
All right, cool. Okay. One last note I will mention. I'll throw the idea at you on the spot. What do you think of doing kind of like almost like a book club, but with video games, where both of us go and play the same game? Don't have to play it a long time, but we just like pick a game off a Game Pass or something like that, and we both go play it for a little bit, and then we talk about it the next week.
I'd be down.
All right, cool.
I just expect there are going to be games in there that I'm going to throw something at a wall.
Oh yeah, of course. And that's like we're only on episode 3. We're still throwing things at the wall, so I figure why not try some of the fun stuff. Try new things, experiment, see what people like.
Just like in college. Oh yeah.
Not that kind of experimenting.
I wish we had face cams for this one.
You went dead silent. I was like, is he okay? Just like a fish gasping for air. All right, everybody. I think that's really all we got for this time. Tally ho!